PFF, for instance, that you can count the members, okay? Would be, maybe the story would have been different. If we were DF, but this is a mass party.
You don't understand
and
that a party needs a code of conduct.
Well,
and that you as a secretariat should be able.
Honorable Musumba said that parties age. Yes, I agree with her that parties keep growing. Chama cha Mapinduzi are there, ANC, NRM, we are not even anywhere. We have just been around since 2005, I think. So we are a younger party. So the age, but what about those ones that could not even celebrate the first anniversary in terms of the electoral cycle?
Salam, maybe he didn't understand what you were asking him.
Maybe it's too much to ask him. Because this is what he's used to. You see, a code of conduct that you should be supervising, a way to manage an organization you call mass. It is important that you refer to your code, to your standards. What is acceptable within the NRM and what is not?
Okay, maybe I can explain this. This constitution here advises us not to go against the common party, the common position of the party.
It's mere advisory.
That's what the article says, that you shouldn't go against the common position of the party. But, you know, I think there is still a weakness that we have to work on, and I think our seniors in the Central Executive Committee have to look at this. Yes, you can stop me in a party. What about when it's opened up for the national elections?
Thank you. Maybe I can bring in a senior member of the party. Do you think the Constitution is either vague or casual about dealing with indiscipline of this extent?
No, I think, let's get it clear. The point of spending money...
not only money.
No, let's talk about spending money first. When you spend money and you pass that money to your delegates or those who are expected to vote for you, maybe in terms of facilitation, that's not a policy of the party. It needs to be understood very clearly. It's not a party. The party does not dictate or guide you or give you guidelines to the effect that you should use money for campaigns. And you'd also want to understand, even for the party like where Salam was, FDC, for you to be able to bring together your delegates conference or for you to go out and canvass, you've got to use money. I think the argument here is the excess use of money, use of money, because the party does not give the candidates money to go and bribe the voters. That's not a policy of the party. That needs to be understood. So what we are trying to do now and what we're going to do is make sure that we come up with very clear guidelines which are very strict and you are held culpable. Should you be held or should you be caught or should you be cited and somebody has a recording and proof to the effect that you actually bribed a voter, then there will be, and you know the National Resistance Movement has got ways and means of containing indiscipline. We have a disciplinary committee where Honorable 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐢𝐻N𝐞 has appeared before. And this disciplinary committee has got 5 layers from the National Disciplinary Committee, which has been chaired by Alhaji Kigongo.
Says he's never been there.
Well, he was invited when he was
rebellious.
When he was indicted, when he was a renegade at one point, or you call it rebellious. But the point I'm trying to tell you is that it's not a policy of government. In politics, there are 3 cards that politicians play: intrigue, scheming, and manipulation. I see this as ways and means of manipulating the voters. And these 3 cards are not acceptable to the party. And that's why you find that anybody who comes in will be held culpable. What we now need to do is find ways and means of ensuring that we can now be able to bring in an enforcement function. And that's why you put in guidelines, you amend the Constitution and make it even harsher for anybody who goes against or contrary to the provisions and the laws of the party.
Oh,
secondly,
yes.
I also want to let you know that the National Resistance Movement, being a mass party, and you have got 72,000 branches. There is no organization, no political party which has got a mass presence like this. The elections that took place recently had over 2.6 million leaders at the grassroots level who were elected. 2.630 leaders who were elected. The point I'm trying to tell you, when you look at the middle core leadership, is 1.641 people who were elected. And that tells you that to be able to govern a country, a party of that level, some parties, when they go for elections, like Salam will very clearly testify, FDC, every election they have conducted has caused them a break. FDC from its formation has now had almost 3 or 4 formations which have emerged from the organization. NRM has remained intact, and we have been in government for 39 years. Next year, January the 26th, this organization, or what you call the governance system, will have made under President Museveni 40 years in power. The point I'm trying to drive here...
That's not true, Honorable Mike Mukula.
Well, the point is...
You know that the organization called the NRM, or under the Political Parties and Organizations Act, is 20 years. You know, this political fraud you keep promoting that you are 40 years. The other one was a movement system. It wasn't the NRM or...
Salam
Give it a clean break and let's read our history properly.
My sister Salam Musumba, the National Resistance Movement, which came into power with legal notice number 1 in 1986, is a revolutionary party by sweat and blood. The point that you need to know is that the metamorphosis which metamorphosed a political party, a political organization from individual merit to multi-party democracy. I think what you need to do...
20 years. Let's say we are 20 years as a party.
Well,
the other 20 were under movement system.
That's correct, but under the same leadership. 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐢𝐻𝐞, you've been a member of the National Resistance Movement.
Yes.
I was part of
what I've told you
system.
is that the metamorphosis, and you know that the original fighters of the National Resistance Movement are the ones that took over power and gave civil authority to, which is now brought in what you call the governance system under multi-party, the one you're talking about, which is now 20 years if you're talking about the multi-party system. But the leadership is the same.
Let me get to OO. OO, you once sat in SEC, thanks to your position then as Director Communications at the NRM Secretariat. What explains the shift that has now taken a turn of shenanigans as members jostle for the coveted seats?
Thank you very much, and I don't know where to start, but with due respect to my 2 colleagues, I have spoken for the NRM party. I spoke for the movement. I taught as an ideologue of the original NRM, 86. I was at the political school, at the military schools. I taught their ideology. I think we need to concede that somewhere NRM lost its way. And both NRM, the original, the movement, and the party now. We lost our way, and I think there's no harm conceding that we lost our way. And we need to retrace. Hopefully we can meaningfully find our way and move ahead. When you see the decline of popularity of the NRM and its leaders, is a sign that Ugandans broadly, we didn't meet their expectation on many fronts. And so we need to concede that. I also don't agree with Honorable Salam Musumba, because this NRM party did not germinate from nowhere. It has its roots in the NRM and NRA. Because of convenience, we mutated to movement. Because of threats and seeking to survive, we remutated into the NRM party, which you call NRMO. But we have our roots in the NRE and NRM of 86.
Like some of us do.
Yes, you can even go back to 81, the launch of the war in Luwero and the merger between the Popular Resistance Army movement with the one of Yusuf Lule. We have roots there, so you cannot, it is difficult to make a hard cut and say, no, you started in 2005. Now, the use of money. Money is a facilitator. We shouldn't have big issue with use money. The problem would be the source of money and quantity and the purpose for which you use.
How is it playing out for you?
Clearly today, there is impunity among we, the political class, in acquiring and application of money to achieve immediate electoral gains, which we ought to condemn and hopefully put a stop over. Let me take you back. In 2001 or 2005, I was the spokesperson of the election task force of YKM. At the end of that election, my president-elect complained publicly that people had misused or even stolen his campaign money. Do you remember that, people? He promised that time that he was going to investigate and culprits, if found, would be brought to book. I have been the spokesperson of this party. I have not seen that investigation. In 2016, after the election, we went to Chankwanzi, we went to Ngoma. At the end of our retreat, Ngoma Nakaseke, again, the president said people had misused the campaign money and would take action. I have not seen that action. I think that has bred the culture of political impunity during the elections.
Does his hesitancy raise eyebrows? Hesitancy to crack
not hesitancy. I think our failure to collectively take the actions that we say we will take has bred and multiplied impunity. Today, SECSAT, I've been a member of that SEC. Today, SECSAT, there had been complaints, and they named candidates for SEC who had hidden away voters. Even after the Secretary General had said on Tuesday that, first of all, no need to hide voters, and that it breaches the party's code of conduct and electoral regulations. I had expected the SEC of today to have summarily, as an example, summarily discontinued the candidature of that candidate. It has not. They have concluded the vetting. That candidate has been left to pass to the next stage. He's proceeding. He is a he, not a she. Has been left to proceed to NEC. If the smaller and more critical organ of the party has left him to proceed to NEC, what chance is there that NEC will hold his advance? We have heard that some people have been removed, and they have not been removed.
Are you shy to name the person in the picture? Who is
they have named Haji Hassan Mbasaja, who was once a member of SEC. That's in the media. So that I had expected that today he would have been discontinued, so that if he wants to go to court, he goes to court to challenge the legality of his removal. But there are people who have been removed today not because of indiscipline, not because of infringing on party rules, but rather probably because they are unknown quantities in the party. Nobody knows them much. They have been removed. And the ones who everybody has fingered has been left to proceed. I think we have reached this level because we abandoned long ago ideological rectification. We abandoned long ago open and constructive criticism. We now look over our shoulders. What will my colleague, what will the senior people say? And we have left the party to disappoint Ugandans, including those whose remains are scattered in unmarked graves around the country. I don't believe in life after death, but since majority of you believe in, you are Christians, you are Muslims, you have religion, I think we should be embarrassed that NRM is where it is now. It is not just that person. We are going for elections on Monday and thereafter. Even in these other leagues, we are running for members of parliament, I don't know, for elders, we are running for youth. If you see what is going on, go around Kampala, go around Wakiso, go around Mukono, and go and check these little guest houses of 30,000, 40,000. Go and check. NRM enjoys a relationship with the state infrastructure, and they ask, you will find those hotels have been fully booked. Booked by who? By one candidate coming and saying, I have booked 400 rooms to hide delegates. And they say so publicly. They say so publicly. In complete disregard of the guidance, the admonition by the Secretary General, only on Tuesday this week. Clearly, we are unable, our leadership is unable to take the stand action
As we take
that is required to bring NRM and its leadership back to line.
As we take a break,
Yes.
Can a process as mischievous as it's been produce credible members of the SEC?
But maybe before OO comes in, I want to just help him cure one thing, which may be a miscommunication to the people. Those who came out stepped aside on their own. They were not persuaded out, but they, in terms of internal democratic processes, they said, no, we are standing down in favor of so and so.
Unbelievable.
I'm telling you the truth, I was there. I mean, I sit in the Central Executive Committee. And consensus is the principle that NRM adapts and holds all the time. I thought that point needs to be captured. We do not delete people, those who have already been registered and paid their fees.
Noted. Can a mischievous process bring credible outcomes?
It is most unlikely, and I have said this before. It would have if somebody was to slip through by accident, in which case they would be the minority. Then the majority would eventually find out the rotten apple and correct the rotten apple or throw it out. Going by the many cycles of elections we have had, you can clearly see that the NRM, generally speaking, is not getting and is not reaping healthy fruits from this process. We deliberately, in 2003, 2004, when we were writing the NRM Constitution, we were mindful of the history of other parties in Uganda before. And therefore, in this Constitution of NRM, we did not put strict vetting. Vetting is only at SEC and NEC. For members of parliament, other leadership, we don't vet in the real sense. Because UPs particularly would use vetting to knock out internal competition. And then NRM said, no, since we want democracy first, let us give it an open trial, which we have done open trial. And it's not giving us healthy fruits. Yes, we win majority votes. Yes, we win majority members of parliament. but we are not getting the dividends that we deserve from that majority.
We'll take a very short break. Is it time for NRM now to indulge in some bit of soul searching?
NBS Frontline.
No, it is a big thing, not just hyped. Hyped is negative. It's as if we are saying what is not there. You can't say 25,000 delegates. You know?
Are descending on Kampala with a lot of money.
And you say it is not hyped.
The big hype comes with the money.
Yes, we have held, even with our bad manners, we have held, we have captivated, we have controlled the media narrative, and we have controlled the ground. You can't say it is just a hype. No.
But, well, what is remarkable now, I actually want to refresh the minds of our viewers on the battle lines between the Speaker of Parliament and the former Speaker of Parliament. And I think that's so far the biggest highlight. There is a bitter exchange of words. If I could just run you through some of the remarks that are being made from the two camps who are going head to head, despite the fact that there are several other players. Those who say I'm not a Musonga, I am more Musonga than them. There you go. There you go.
Is Musonga an abuse?
Well,
What is abuse?
well, while Kadaga says, Kadaoba NRM yenetandika okubuukira ensonga nti kubanga weesiize ebizigo.
So what is abuse? Is
A little below the belt. Well,
what is it?
Anita comes out, the position I'm standing for is meant for the current speaker. And by God's grace, that is more than Anita Mong. Actually, it is the Right Honorable Kadaga, my mother, who is standing against me. Well, we can keep running some of the comments that have been made. But this fight between Anita Mong and Rebecca Kadaga, as a senior member of the NRM, what comes into your mind?
I think, first of all, it's uncalled for. We need to de-escalate this demonization politics. I think we need to have decorum. All senior leaders of the party, even the lower levels, even those that are watching, because, you know, politics is not do or die. I think it is important that you have respect and ensure that even if you have, especially when you have elections within internal elections, you have a comradeship. You do not, the Baganda have a saying, "Bokube munobo mukube chugo," Bomegatoluma. Meaning really that when you are having a battle with or a fight with your brother or sister, when you put him or her down, you don't go beyond what is unacceptable.
Traditionally, the NRM has had the moments where these big figureheads are negotiated. One of them bows out for the other. Why isn't it applied for Kadaga and Anita Mong?
What we have done, and I want to tell you that I've just come out of the Central Executive Committee, and we have tried as much as possible to say that the two could sit down. We actually asked them to go out, and we have consensus in such a way that if they can agree to have one step aside, then the president has got a mandate and the powers to, among the 5 special appointees, the chairman,
In this case, yes,
has got the mandate to appoint 5 eminent people. One of those has been Right Honorable Rugunda, who has been the Prime Minister, Kaindo Tafire, you also know Kionga, Dr. Crispus Kionga, and Dorothy Huha, and Huda Oleru, the Minister of Veteran Affairs in the Ministry of Defense. We have offered those positions. Well, but they seem not to have agreed, and we went to second option, which is to say, if Tier 1 has not been able to make you agree, we'll send you to Tier 2, which is the National Executive Committee. And if the National Executive Committee does not build some sort of consensus and get you to understand each other, then we'll send you to Tier 3.
Are you too late or too late? This
No,
is what you should
I
have
think
resolved.
that, you see, when you look at Article 1 of the Constitution, it says power belongs to the people. And that power will be exercised through a free and fair election. It may be internal or mass election, but what we do normally is send them to the people to decide. Let democracy prevail. The will of the people is what democracy is all about. And I want to assure you and to tell you that...
Yeah, but there is an irony, and before I invite in Honorable 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐢𝐛𝐞,
Yes.
people who have stood against Chigongo
Yes.
were asked to step down.
I will tell you today, we had 3 contestants who appeared before the Central Executive Committee for vetting, which is really an interview, to see that we could have allowed them to go ahead, but they on their own voluntarily said no. We have a lot of high regard for Alhaji Moses Chigongo. I think we will look at ways and means of working for the party in other areas, and they voluntarily stepped aside. Not that they were forced out. We would have allowed them to go to the second tier, which is the National Executive Committee, then the third tier, which would have been the National Conference. But they opted to step aside in favor of the elder, Alhaji Moses Chigongo, to help serve the party in this term. So I want to tell you...
But there have been precedents of trade-offs. Step out, maintain this position. Take, for instance, Anita Among steps down for Kadaga to retain the speakership.
Well, those are options that are available. But today, for purpose of clarity, I want to tell you, without disclosing the details of our discussion, but to give you what you call info, which is ideal for public consumption, consensus is our approach as a party. And once you fail to arrive at consensus, we then send you to the next level. And I want to tell you that it is this element of brotherhood or comradeship that has made the national resistance movement remain cohesive, remain within the governance sphere. And I want to tell you, a mass part of this level, with a lot of high-level leadership. Today, when we look at the qualities of some of the people who came from, who were vying for some of the offices in this electoral process, some, like 4 or 5 of them have PhDs, and some of them have 4 master's degrees.
Honorable 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐢𝐛𝐞, I want to bring you in here. There is always a lot of dynamics that play out in these meetings where some candidates are asked to opt out. What's your take on the process, especially at the SEC level?
Exactly, that's where I was itching to intervene, but he has been my senior in the party, and Honorable Captain...
He has been?
He has been for this long time. And Honorable Captain Mike Mukula is aware, exactly as you put it, that at one point the president came out and guided that the first national vice chairperson, Alhaji Moses Chigongo, should remain. You remember the late Hakim Lukenge had stood against him, and the president was not ambivalent, was an ambivalent. He gave directions, and that's how the matter was settled. Alhaji Moses Chigongo remained the first national vice chairman. Even this time round, I'm saddened when I hear the vice chairman, NRM, Honorable Mike Mukula, appearing extremely weak and sick, so feeble that they can't give direction to members. No, not that. But ideally and really in real terms, what is your purpose as SEC if you can't give guidance on such an explosive matter, where Njara, you've done us well, you've first given us highlights of the various statements, and you should have plucked it from there. But now for you to say we appeared so helpless that we are contemplating sending it to the second tier of the National Executive Committee.
What do you think is making it too delicate for them to handle?
I think now the exact position I started with, the shenanigans have taken this country and the party at ransom. They're holding the party at ransom. I don't know why. I don't know why they are taking the center stage at this point in time, where even the chairman of the party, the president is always well listened to. He's highly respected. And once he comes up with a position, it is more or less a guiding principle to all and sundry. Now, why has SEC failed? Why has SEC failed? And then we've seen that the president has ordered his brother Nzeiri out. He can confirm or not. But why is the president going against the brother? Yet it is the brother's right to participate. And I want to believe that it is because of the bigger picture. The president looking at the entire country and says, well, for the good of the party, for the good of the country, Mr. 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐢𝐻, stand down.
Yeah, but you sound as if you want to project Honorable Mukula as being disingenuous. He said members are bowing out voluntarily in the name of harmony.
No, but I've said it is running, it is coming out as an outcome of the SEC meeting that the president has ordered Mr. 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐻 to step aside of this race. I'm saying in the same vein, why isn't he being able now to take a command of the situation and give guidance and direction to the party?
Diligently, what would resolve the impasse on the Anita Among-Kadaga issue?
No. Let's look at the background. Where do we come? How did we reach this, where we are now? The party has always been having consensus put forward. Consensus. If you are the speaker, you are the third most powerful person in the country. Let's be honest about this. And now, if the party can allow you to continue as such, must you also say, I need this, it is for the speaker? And I start to be corrected. I've seen a caption. A moment.
Could I help you a little bit here?
A moment. I've seen a caption saying that the second vice national chairperson is the speaker. Since when was it tied to that? I think we come out in our individual capacities to offer ourselves, irrespective of where you come from or your station in the country or in the party.
Could I help you? Could I help you a bit here, Ndugu 𝐬𝐻𝐞? You have been a member of the National Resistance Movement for a bit of time. You've been able to vie for some of these offices, including Secretary General. You've been able to vie for Deputy Speaker of Parliament. The late Oulanya, may his soul rest in eternal peace, was a Speaker of Parliament, but he was also able to vie for the National Vice Chairman in charge of Northern Uganda, and he was elected. He had a number of people who were competing with him. He had Sam Engola and so on and so forth. But the point I'm trying to tell you is that all these positions within the party are normally arrived at usually with consensus. Even when we had the position of the speaker for that matter, you had Honorable Kadaga and the late Right Honorable Jacob Oulanya, and we sat inside, we sat in SEC, and we took long hours trying to arrive at consensus. Eventually, we sent all of them eventually to you to decide. The point I'm trying to tell you is that the national resistance movement always exercises maturity, sobriety, and we have never expelled anybody in this party. You know that very well. You know that you have been cited. We suspended him, but you know that he has opted out. He has never been expelled.
No. Of course, Honorable 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐢𝐛𝐞 knows very well.
All had an intention. Perhaps you can take them together.
Something factual. It is not correct. I don't know who advised my young sister, the speaker, the current speaker, to make that statement, because it's not factually correct in the constitution of the NRA, that the second national vice chairperson is supposed to be the sitting speaker. That's not accurate. This is not provided for. However, the other more important fact that actually bails her out is that in 2005, when we created this position, I was a member of SEC. 4 women vied. Minister Bakoko Bakoro, Minister Christina Poro, among Minister Akech,
but even
Minister for Security then, and Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, who was Deputy Speaker. And therefore, Honorable 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐢𝐛𝐞, you did not make that argument that time. You were a member of NEC. No. You did not make that argument then, that Honorable Kadaga, since you are a Deputy Speaker, which is the 4th most important, why don't you leave to the other ministers this position?
Correct.
We sat in Nambole for a day. We sat overnight in Nambole. We went and had breakfast at State Lodge in Akasero. That's where now the 4 women
bowed up,
agreed and said, let us step down for Honorable Kadaga. That's a fact.
Okay, fine.
𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐢𝐛𝐞, these are submitting out of context.
Not out of context.
Yes, because the issue at hand,
saying Anita Mong, since she's a speaker, 3rd most important, she should pave way. I don't agree with that.
You don't have to fight over that.
Yes.
𝐬𝐵𝐺𝑎 has posed a question. What way forward? I think that was the issue.
What would be practical?
And what you are saying, you are just entrenching yourself in lamentations. Can you propose the way forward out of this?
There is an obvious way forward.
Can you propose the way forward?
To an election.
I'm a member.
The way forward is the ballot.
Then let me use my experience.
Okay,
let me use my experience. At one time, there was one Mr. Maguru who wanted to stand against the chairman of the party.
Even 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐢𝐛𝐞.
Even 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐢𝐛𝐞 for that matter. And they were resolved, it wasn't fulfilled. It did not go up to the voting. Even if 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐢𝐛𝐞 had been allowed to have his own vote, he would have appeared on the ballot. But that wasn't to be. The then Captain Maguru, 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐢𝐛𝐞 and others were not allowed. Out of this consensus, they did not bow out on their own volition. So now move forward, fast forward. You've given a good example of the first national vice chairperson. And we say, yes, it was the correct position taken by the party. Now we are coming back to this internecine war between Honorable Kadaga and the Right Honorable Anita Mong. And you are asking us to propose. They are quick to defend, but they are not proposing the way forward. And once I come up, they are quick to jump onto with big experience. So what I'm saying, you either propose or you keep quiet. You have a proposal to put forward, or you keep quiet about it, or you are shy, You don't want to look into the camera. You don't want to look into the camera. You are jumping on my proposal. Can you offer yours?
Honorable Salam, do you see an impasse within the NRM as big shots now go down in the fight?
No, it's not.
Honorable Salam Musumba, as the Vice President of PFF, campaigning for one candidate in the SEC as she's the best.
No, I haven't. And I will not take that.
You have been campaigning for one of the candidates.
For me, it is sad.
Again?
It's really sad. There's a gender perspective to this, that you allow women or you tempt the women.
Tempt?
Yes. Because they are the pushing forces behind each of them. No, you want to play that gender card and say that women on their own will not speak to themselves, and yet you escalate backstage. You escalate these wars.
So someone is
I watched the nominations of both, each of them, and who was where, and I could understand the game. I can read the game, and that game is ugly. That game is very ugly, because you see, these are your best women. You should never have allowed them to go that far. And for me, I'm suspicious. If you have done your consensus on the men, and you have left the women to go to the gutters, I mean, it just reinforces the gender discrimination, the gender setups, the gender schemes that we resort to cure by creating that position. By the way, that position wasn't there in the original constitution. You amended, you provided for it as an afterthought. And even after that afterthought, you let it get out into the gutters.
Salam, let me help you here.
Yeah.
In 2005, on the 30th of November, when we were in Nambole, that position of the second national vice chairperson of NRM female was not there. What happened was that we were about 6-7 of us. You recall that, Fonopondo? And we had the Honorable Wasieva, Honorable Kadaga, and many others. And I came out with the overall majority. And if you do recall very well, I got 91.7. You can go to the archives of the National Institute.
91.7 what?
Percent, yes.
Okay.
Now, when my sister, Right Honorable Kadaga, opted out and said, so the momentum in Nambole, the women then went in to negotiate, and you recall very well what Ofono Ponda has just been able to elucidate. And remember Zamzam Naguja, the legal brain, went in and said, no, we can now amend the constitution in order to accommodate this position. And that's why 5 ladies did vie for this position. The national resistance movement was able to accommodate the lobby of the women folk to make sure that they're given an empowerment, what you call a position within the party.
So it was a second thought.
Yeah.
Yes. And
when we were writing the constitution,
it was not.
We didn't see that we needed to create a specific position for women at that level. We did not see. We did not foresee.
So the role of women was an afterthought.
Not an, yeah, well,
no, but in the
constitution, you make mistakes.
No, but in the constitution, the position, Honorable, the lady from Bale, Lydia Wanyoto, that position she has was specific.
Was in the constitution, yes.
To take care of the League of Women. In the
okay, fine. As you conclude,
So for me, I think there's still a possibility that you can tidy it up, but the damage is already extensive, and it has polluted, it has divided, it has corroded, it has, actually the biggest problem is that it has impacted Busoga as a region. Yes, Busoga, because they both come from Busoga. Yeah, you know that?
I know that.
Yeah, and so when you have a vulnerable society like mine in Busoga,
are you vulnerable, Saddam?
The society is very vulnerable.
But you're part of society, so...
No, me, I'm not. And I can never. But my society is a very vulnerable society, politically vulnerable.
So is Honorable Kadaga vulnerable?
You see, they are not vulnerable. The leaders are not vulnerable,
yes.
The leaders. But the community from which they come, the community from which they are doing their politics, is so vulnerable. And it is causing more polarization, more
So it is Usoga now feeling the tremors of these two.
It's the grass that's
you.
being trampled.
We're taking a very short
As
break,
the first line
but
of victims
Honorable,
of a dead system.
Mkula, you've not had such a fierce challenge before, like the one you're experiencing now. I imagine you're trembling.
Not at all. You can see my trouser is steady.
We'll take a break.
It was the legs.